Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to It's Okay. If you've never been here before, welcome. We're glad you're here. This is a fairly new podcast, something I decided to start just because I realize that we all go through so many things in life and we don't really realize that no matter what we go through, it's going to be okay. And that things usually do turn out okay. So that's the reason I call it It's Okay. Plus, I have a book called It's Okay out by A.B. Veris. If you want to check that out, you can purchase one of those. This podcast, we are going to talk about menopause. I decided that I was doing away with scripts because honestly, it's just better to just talk to you like, I would talk to anybody else than to sit and look and read a script. But anyways, yeah, we're going to talk about menopause with women. Age range is usually like 35 to 55. If you're lucky, maybe you won't hit it until later. But you also have perimenopause, and perimenopause comes before the menopause, which is really great because most ladies in their 30s have to deal with that. Now, we're not just talking about menopause and how it affects women. We're also talking about menopause and how it affects the people around us, because yes, it does. It might affect us as women emotionally and, the physicalness, but it's still affecting other people around us emotionally because they're dealing with everything we're dealing with. So, with that said, there's so many side effects that comes with menopause. A lot of men don't understand about it. And rightfully so. A lot of times us women don't understand either what our bodies are doing. 1 minute we're having a hot flash, the next minute we're freezing. The next minute we're in bed trying to sleep and we're soaking wet, and we feel like when our heat hit the floor, you can see smoke rise up. It gets pretty bad. You can get dry eyes. You can have sensitive skin. You could get itchy skin. You can have acne. Your hair seems to fall out a lot easier. So it's like it's thinning hair and you're like, what in the world? I don't want to be bald. Weight gain starts coming. So you experience somewhat, or you can experience somewhat of having this, what they call menopause belly. So, if you've been used to being skinny mini, all of a sudden, bam, you're like, where did this extra 20 pounds come from? I didn't even try to get it. One thing that gets me the most about menopause is that you get these spells where you're so emotional and you just want to cry and you're like, why do I feel like this? Let me apologize right now. The dogs are at it again. And let me say again, if you're new here, the dogs are good at barking. They're good at squeaking their toys, and they just really want to be on the podcast, but I just won't let them right now. So you're just going to have to deal with it. I forgot to tell you before I started in on all this. I was supposed to have a guest tonight. It didn't work out, but I will try to get guests on for the next one. So I'll work on that. Now back to what I was saying. The emotional side of menopause is probably, to me, like the worst side. You can cry at a drop of a hat or get mean, shall I say, in a bad mood, grouchy. It just seems to have like a real effect, and you feel like you're hidden. No, maybe that's not the word for it. Trapped inside your own body, sort of, because like your mind knows this is not normal, but then it's like you have no control over it. It's very weird. Menopause, the whole thing is very strange. There's some women that are in menopause, they just stop having periods. Others have like heavy periods. Some have it back and forth, back and forth. Me, I'm lucky. I had a hysterectomy. I was like 32 when I had it. So I've had a period for a long time. But menopause didn't actually hit me full blown, even after having the hysterectomy, until like later. So maybe the last, 7 years, I've dealt with menopause. And it's not a happy thing. But everybody's body goes through it, and that's, part of nature. Now, the one thing that we don't consider, us women don't consider, is that the people that we're around, that we live with, our husbands, our boyfriends, our kids, whoever you have that lives with you, a roommate, whatever, what have you, they have to deal with your moods. They see when you're all, upset. They see when you're a grouch, when you're sappy, you're complaining about a hot flash. They're dealing with all this. I usually feel the most sorry for husbands and boyfriends or partners, because they really take a brunt hit from it. And there's nothing that they can do to fix it. Men are usually fix-its. And they can't fix it. Like, it's not something they can just snap, or they can find, like that formula that fixes it. And I feel sorry for them because, being helpless like that, I can see where that would really drive someone nuts if they are so helpless. Now, I don't really remember my mom going through menopause. If I had to say the closest person that I lived with that would have been going through perimenopause or just menopause in general, yeah, I don't really remember her going through that. But then again, I don't know, I didn't pay attention to that when I was that age. I really didn't pay attention to that in high school. I wasn't like, I don't know. I don't think anybody does when they're like in high school. They don't pay attention. Oh, I think mom's, going through menopause. Boys, chill out. No, you don't get to be on the podcast tonight. Boy, they do want to be. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I really feel like that menopause is something that's really complicated for anybody that's around you in the house to have to deal with. So, yeah. So there's that. I don't know how many people that are going to watch this that are actually dealing with menopause or perimenopause, but I just want you to know that I see you. As does anybody else listening to this that's going through menopause, they see you too. Because it's really, really not something enjoyable that you want to go through. It just isn't. I don't know how else to explain it. It is not something that we all sit around and say, I can't wait for it to happen. When you're a little girl, nobody explains to you, or when you're a teenage girl, nobody explains to you, hey, you're going to have this period, and then when it's deciding that, you're old enough and you're done with your period, you're going to go through menopause, and it's going to give you A, B, C, D, E, F. Nobody explains that to you, or at least they didn't to me, and I'm pretty sure over half of Gen X would say the same thing, that their mothers didn't explain that to them. But then again, I'm pretty sure the baby boomers, their parents or mothers, didn't explain menopause to them either. It was a, hey, here it is, just figure it out. Now, as a Gen Xer, I have thoroughly explained this menopause junk to my daughters. And it's important to know. And I mean, and some of them have had to live with somewhat of my menopause, perimenopause. So, it's been well explained. They know what's coming. But yeah, it is a complex thing. Mentally, it's a complex thing. Physically, the good thing is eventually it's supposed to stop. And I don't know when it's supposed to stop, but usually they say that it stops, before you're 60. Lord, let's hope so, because this woman doesn't want to deal with it that long. And I'm positive most of you women or men watching this don't want to deal with it that long either. They say that a man goes through his own menopause. His testosterone drops just like our estrogen and progesterone does. So I could see it. I could see it. But I don't think that we're paying attention to it as much that way as we are women. So, because women are so much more melodramatic than men. Not to say that there aren't any melodramatic men, because there are some very dramatic men. But women are usually way more animated, dramatic, whatever. Men, that's why men call us crazy. And I'm not above saying that most women are crazy. That's just, if you had all these raging hormones in your body and then had to deal with this world and whatever, you'd be crazy too. But, men don't have those hormone fluxes like we do. And they don't have double the hormone. I mean, we have testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen. Men have basically just testosterone. So, I think they have a little bit of estrogen, but it's not like what we deal with. So anyways, so that's my take on menopause, and how it affects those around us. And I am sorry for those around us that have to deal with that, because it's not any fun. But there's not really anything we can do about it. But if you could please have patience with us women, you men out there that are dealing with us women going through perimenopause or menopause, please have some patience. I know that's a big ask, and I know that's hard. Seems like all us women do is ask you guys to do more stuff for us. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it is something we have to go through, something we can't control, and something that's not very pleasurable. But it is what it is. So anyways, there we go. That's it. All out on the table. Real talk. Not one side of the fence, not the other side of the fence. Because the one thing that I want to address on this podcast is that we're not always going to be like one-sided. I'm not going to sit in and do like other podcasts where people are just all about their side, their thoughts, their beliefs, the other side's bad or whatever. No, I like to see the whole story. Like there's always two sides to the story, not just one. So I like to look at both sides. That way you can understand. Always look to understand the other person's point of view, not just your own. And then that's how true communication, understanding, and kindness comes around. Because then you start having compassion and a heart for more than just what you want out of a situation. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the podcast this evening. And I am definitely looking forward to making the next podcast. I'm pretty sure that I will have a guest on the next one. I may have to hit her online because she doesn't live in the state. So we will see how that goes. I am producing my own stuff. I am learning as I go. And, and I'm fine with that because this isn't about the frills. This is, about real talk. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate you listening to me banter and go on about this, that, and the other with menopause. I apologize for the dogs. But as I always say at the end of every podcast, just remember that even if it's not okay, I promise it's going to be okay.